Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Biocatalyst 2021. In this video, we will study on prions, which is the last topic of the chapter. So let's start. Prion word was coined by Stanley B. Prusiner in 1982. He was a neurologist and a biochemist in California. He derived prion word from two words, protein and infection. So it is actually a short form of proteinaceous infectious particle. These prion particles or prion are actually the smallest agents that can cause diseases, and they are simply misfolded proteins. Let's study more. Prions are similar in size to viruses. So that is the kind of size that they have, that is they are smaller, as small as viruses. The difference is that viruses contain nucleic acid in the form of RNA, whereas prions are simply misfolded proteins. These are infectious agents that cause neurodegenerative diseases. Neurodegenerative diseases are progressive diseases that cause permanent damage in the structure and function of neural tissue. All the prion diseases in mammals affect the structure of the brain and other neural tissue. When we talk of prions when affect any organism, then finally it gets collected in the central nervous system, which is the brain and the spinal cord. That is why if any organism is affected by prion disease, then the structure of the brain and other neural tissue is affected. All these diseases are progressive with no effective treatment and are always fatal. All these diseases are actually life-threatening diseases. Prions are misfolded proteins that have the ability to transmit its misfolded shape onto a normal variant of the same protein. So actually, what are prions? Prions are misfolded proteins. When a variant which is of the same family, that is a protein variant of the same family, a normal one comes in contact with prions, then that normal protein also starts to misfold. That is how the infection begins or starts. And as more normal proteins come in contact with this misfolded protein, this prion, then all of these normal proteins, they become prions. They get converted into misfolded proteins. Let's understand what is a protein variant. The proteins that prions are made up of are called prion proteins, which is abbreviated as PRP, where PR stands for prion and P stands for protein. Now here there are three types of proteins mentioned. PRPC, which is a normal protein present in the cell membranes of different cells throughout the body. For example, leukocytes, the cell membrane is made up of this normal protein. The next one is PRPRES. RES stands for resistant. This particular protein is protease resistant because there is misfolding. And because there is misfolding in this protein, which was normal earlier, now this has become or converted into prion. Now this is a prion protein which is protease resistant. If this prion protein comes in contact with the above, that is PRPC, the normal protein, then all these normal proteins will gradually convert into protease resistant prions. That is the defective protein or the misfolded protein. The third one is PRPSC, which is prion protein causing scrapies. So it is actually from the same family, but now it has misfolded in a different way, and now this particular prion causes scrapies. So if any normal protein will come in contact with this prion protein, then it will cause scrapies, which is again a fatal disease. All these above three proteins that we are talking about, that is PRPC, the normal one, PRPRES, which is the resistant prion protein resistant for protease enzyme, and PRPSC, which is a prion protein causing scrapies. All these are from the same gene or the gene family, and so they are isoforms. They are protein variants. So when a normal protein comes in contact with any of the prion proteins, then they will start to misfold. That is why we say that it is infectious, because it is increasing. The disease is gradually increasing. And this disease, whenever any organism is affected by prion disease, it takes uh, many years for it to actually express itself. Sometimes it takes even decades, when finally all these normal proteins convert into prion proteins, and then the disease is expressed. Once the disease is expressed, then it takes few weeks or few months or even few years that the organism dies. Let's look at this figure. To the left, we can see is a normal protein, which is PRPC. The prion protein, C stands for cellular. This is a normal protein which is showing normal folding of the protein. To the right is PRPSC. Now this is a prion protein which causes scrapies, and this is a protein which is misfolded. Now this misfolded protein, that is the prion protein, if it comes in contact with the normal protein, then this normal protein will also convert into prion protein, and then gradually it will increase and cause scrapies. So actually prions form abnormal aggregates of proteins which accumulates in this infected tissue, with whichever, like if we are talking of brain. So finally all these prion proteins, they will get accumulated, and when they accumulate in a large number, then they cause tissue damage and cell death. This aggregate or accumulation of these prion proteins, these aggregates are called amyloids, and these amyloids are then finally responsible for the diseases. For example, it may cause Alzheimer's disease or Parkinson's disease. These amyloids, or we can say these aggregates of misfolded proteins, are very stable, and they cannot be denatured or destroyed by chemical or physical agents. So actually these prion proteins, when they are accumulated in large number, they cannot be destroyed by ordinary disinfection or even by cooking. That is why their disposal or containment of these particles is very difficult. So now when we talk about the various ways of getting prion disease, is one of the ways is by consuming infected meat, that is the meat which contain prion proteins. Especially we have understood throughout the video that prions actually accumulate in the central nervous system, which is the brain and the spinal cord. So if we consume meat, especially if we consume the brain and the spinal cord, then there are high chances that we can get prion disease, because by cooking prions cannot be destroyed, and if by chance we eat such infected meat, then we can get prion disease. And that is why it is always recommended that we should avoid these two parts of the meat, and especially of the same species to which we belong to. So I hope you have understood what are prions. In the next video, we will study on some prion diseases. If you like my videos, then do subscribe to my channel and do not forget to like, share. Thank you.